And, maybe you've heard even more creative. I've heard some like, it's the day I read the Sunday newspaper and, and I'm like, wow, okay, whichever. I've heard I go on hikes. That's my morning hike day. I don't know. That's my one workout day of the week. I have literally heard so many. But what is far more interesting than discovering the reasons people don't go to church and worship is discovering the reasons that they do go. Right? Psalm 122 is the psalm of a person who decides to go to church and worship. And his heart is leaping for joy to get there. And you're like, yes. And some of you were feeling the same way as this guy. And I think Psalm 122 is this, it's an exciting example of just how drawn we are to worship. And, in the sequence of Psalms, Psalm 122 is a demonstration of how people of faith everywhere and always, what they do is worship God. They find an assigned place and they worship God. It's what we do. And I think for some, maybe all of that, but we do know one thing for sure. Take away all the rules and consider what Christian behavior is and is not, a lot of worship would still take place. Real worship, we know that worship is not forced. Everyone who does worship does so voluntarily. Like even when you're here this morning, you're like, well, I don't want to sing. I mean, you don't have to sing, but it's great. It's like our combined voices lifted up really glorify God, I think. And certainly there are some, I don't doubt even here this morning, who felt like you got dragged to church this morning, amen? You're like, somebody made me come to church today, so I'm here. They can't also make me sing the songs, right? But I find that those who get dragged to church don't get dragged to church for long, right? And sometimes it'll last for a few years. But more than anything, in general, worship is a voluntary thing for Christians. And you're here and you're worshiping because you want to. And so are many people around the world. And here's something interesting. There are more people at church on a Sunday morning than there are watching all the football games that are happening in the country. Combined with all the golfers, not here, right? Combined with all the fishermen, there's a word for that, I got there. Combined with all the people hiking, like for all the aspersions that are cast upon Sunday morning and all the talk about how church is in decline, it is still the number one thing that is done. On Sunday morning, there's more worship going on than there is anything else going on. And people are like, oh no, nobody does that anymore. False. The numbers tell the truth.